Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. In another episode for Autism Acceptance Month, which the series is, of course, called Autistic Assemble. In today's episode, I'm joined with Dominic, and who is a fellow podcaster himself. As you could probably see from the setup he's got going, um, which is going to be a really good conversation. We're gonna be speaking about autism. We're going to be speaking about a little bit about football as well because it's a mutual interest of ours. So it's going to be a really good fun talk. So Dominic, to anyone who's seen this today, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Dominic. First off, thanks for having me on your show. Happy to be here. But yeah, I'm a podcaster from Leeds. I live in Scotland now, and I've interviewed a fair few people. The podcast is called The World According to the Autistic Kid. It started a good few years ago now. I think 3 years ago. I just got a reminder on my phone. So it started at the very start of lockdown. That's when I started recording. So it's
Yeah,
been going for a fair while, and we've had a fair few guests.
yeah.
And yeah,
You've
that's
you,
me.
you've had some good guests as well, haven't you? Like you had
Yeah,
I saw you um and I can't say her name now. And
Hegarty. Yeah, and
yeah, yeah,
Hegarty.
yeah, and Haggerty from the Chase and when I'm a Celebrity as well. Um,
Yeah, and was good.
yeah,
Who else have we had? We've had a few footballers as well.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, quite varied.
I think it's really good. Like just getting having a podcast anyway because like you can do it whenever you want.
Hmm.
You can have a long break if you like. Um,
Yeah,
but I'll just say I started about around lockdown as well. Because something
yeah,
to do, wasn't it? Like probably
yeah.
bored.
You're all trapped at home, so yeah, give us something to like enjoy instead of just sat watching TV all day.
Yeah, yeah. You can. It's good because it may be revolved around autism, but there's so many other things that you can talk
Hmm.
about that involve around it.
Yeah.
Like you say, you've had football guests. How perhaps people in like coaching or stuff like that can help
Hmm.
or do things differently to support people who are autistic,
Yeah,
and I think that's really good.
yeah. It's the podcast that I've got is trying to be about autism, but we do get a lot of other guests about other subjects. I think we've had a drummer that's drummed with Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen. We've had a music producer that's won a Grammy. So it gets quite varied as time goes on. It gets quite varied.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is really good fun, but I think maybe the hard thing at the start is maybe creating a name or getting yourself like having a
Oh
logo.
God,
I think that's the hardest thing.
yeah. My name's so crap, and the logo was just a random background I found, and I just put some words on it. I my logo's rubbish.
Yeah, my logo's changed half a dozen times. Um, I think every year.
Hey, your logo's sound though. Your logo's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, like it's changed. Like at the start, like when I started created it, I didn't even get a logo. It actually created itself. Like whatever the name was, it had this yellow background and it just said the name. But I had to be adapted because it was a bit boring.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember I got a logo made and I can't find it. I got it made like a year ago and I was meant to change it, but I forgot and I can't find the file anywhere. So I spent loads of time and I've lost it.
yeah,
Absolutely gutted.
yeah, but I think that's the most hardest things when people create a podcast because a lot of people I've have in the past have come on mine, or actually a person messaged me yesterday as we're recording this, saying that they want to have a little chat about how to create a podcast, which I think is great. Like it's
Mhm.
becoming a more normal thing now, isn't it? Like podcasts and people doing it.
Yeah, everyone's got one.
Yeah.
Especially in lockdown as well. Loads of people jumped on it, like well, I did as well. But yeah, no, there's a fair few. Nice being guests on other ones as well. 'Cause there's that many different podcasts you can come on.
Yeah, it's really great. Like I've actually lost count how many I've been on myself. It could have been more, maybe six or even more than that. But like, it's a good experience. Like because everyone has their own kind of. Everyone podcast is different. How they do things. You might have like
Yeah.
loaded questions beforehand. I know like today, our one on my one, I don't ask for people. I don't unless people want the questions. They want me to do some questions. I'll do it. But if not, go with the flow. like we are.
Yeah. Everyone's got
Um,
their own style, aren't they? So it makes it
they have.
interesting.
They have. Like, what with your podcast? So, what's your kind of like format? Do you write questions down beforehand, or do you just go with the flow?
There you go. You froze there. Sorry. Can you ask the question again? Sorry.
I just said like with your podcast, do you just go with the flow, or do you
Oh,
ask questions?
bit of both. I don't really write questions down. I write some themes that I'll talk about just so I've got a reminder. I'll write maybe one or two that I need to remember to ask, but most of the time it is just going with the flow.
Mm.
If they say something interesting, I'll ask them about that. Unless I had not too long ago, I had a politician on, and I did write down questions for them because I didn't really want to debate them. I just wanted to get a fair few in and let
Yeah,
them take the lead because it's politics is an interesting one.
yeah. Like if you have someone like Anne, who you had on, you might want to write a few questions down.
Yeah, the agent wanted questions, so she said, "What do you plan on asking?" I'm thinking I usually go with the flow, so I had to make up a few questions to send to her.
Yeah,
But yeah, it depends what the agent wants.
yeah. Like you say, like some guests want them, and some people don't.
Yeah,
Like I think it's much easier, like not with no questions, just go with the flow. Maybe talk about, tell them what you're going to be speaking about if they ask.
Mhm.
Because I find it more
Yeah,
complicated. Because if you've got all these set questions, that they think you're going to ask all these questions, and you're looking down and like you forget what the questions were.
or you don't get to it because there's no time or something along them lines.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Mental.
It's one of those things, but um, like whenever I have write questions down, the hard thing is you gotta think how many are you gonna say because um, like you might write it down maybe five, but five don't seem a lot, but you can speak so much about one
Yeah,
thing that you've discussed.
you never know what the guest's going to be like, do you? Like
No,
they might like to blab loads, or they might be having a bad day, so they're just giving you yes or no answers, and that just doesn't help at all.
no,
Like,
no, it's not great, is it? Um, like it's because you don't know what you get, do you? Like you don't know what they're gonna be like. Like I've had guests both ways like that. And like you can say the pros and cons about maybe both ways. Like if someone
yeah,
talks a lot, you might struggle to get a word in. But on another way, it might be a bit different experience because you're used to speaking a lot. You might have to just relax this time and let them do the talking.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. You get extremes, don't you? I had one guest that I think we're on a call for 3 hours for. Like, it had to get split into a few episodes and cut down, and I had another one where they're just answering everything with like crap answers, and I won't name names, but it was just a rubbish episode.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one extreme to the other. I think it was done within like 20 minutes as well. It went mega quick.
Yeah, I've had my shortest episode would probably be about that, maybe 10 minutes. But is it that is depending on the guest. Like
Yeah,
if I'm having someone that um depending on how much time they have, like some people can be like that, but more or less it just depends how much you're speaking about. And if you kind of process, don't you? If you're talking to someone, is this going to be a long episode or is this going to be then maybe a bit shorter than
hmm,
normal?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I had Douglas Ross as a politician on the other day. I've had politicians from both sides, so I'm balanced.
Yeah.
Um, but he came between a debate and when they were voting, so we only had like 20, 30 minutes or so.
Mm.
So it were quite sharp, that one.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about nearly as much as I wanted to,
Yeah.
but can't blame them.
It's good to get people like that, like with politics and everything. Um, a lot's been spoken about at the moment, like last few days. Um, but
Yeah,
like if you have them kind of people on the podcast, it's really interesting because you got to have your own views and you got to like because like your guest who is works within the politics is going to talk about all their views.
mhm.
And in your own mind, you might not agree with
Yeah,
maybe much, or you might agree with it. You don't know, depending on what side it is and what the discussion is, because you can talk about awful a lot about politics. Um,
Yeah.
And it is difficult. Like it could be good though if you did get in a little heated kind of conversation for people watching.
Yeah, it'd be good entertainment. You try not to offend the guests though, don't you? So I was just trying to like agree but not really agree,
Yeah,
even when I didn't it were but yeah, that'd have been entertaining. Just have a
yeah,
scrap on Zoom.
yeah, yeah. It like depends. It depends what they're talking about as well. Like if it's like I don't know, like maybe during COVID or like the complication of the rules,
Mhm.
like because it was very complicated to understand. I
Yeah,
think especially if people maybe who are neurodiverse or autistic, like like it changed every 5 minutes, didn't it? Really,
yeah,
all the rules. So, um, and I don't think like it just was a whole palaver, wasn't it?
yeah. It was bad. It did just keep changing. But
Yeah,
I guess I can't blame them too much because it was new, but it did keep changing, which wasn't helpful for anyone.
yeah, yeah. It was. It definitely was, and like like for me, I'm compromised, Dominic. So
Yeah,
what happened was like I was put in this shielding category, but basically just
yeah,
shield, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, uh, you could- you're with everyone else, like who are just getting on with their lives. So it was very confusing. And I would like to get actually have mine. I did try, but I didn't get to do it. And the guest, I'm not gonna say who it was, but
yeah.
it would have been a good episode if that was the case. Um, because I think we might have got into a little heated conversation on who the actual guest was, because the guest who I nearly got on was quite in the media and a lot of in the public. So uh, I was on the call to the agent and everything, like the people. I got invited to Parliament actually. Because the guest couldn't make it. I got invited to Parliament and stuff, um, but who knows? Like it's really cool when you get these really good, like
Yeah,
maybe popular, shall we say, guest
yeah,
on the show, because it's not every day you get that kind of chance to speak to them.
yeah. It is when you get a big name, it's like, wait a minute, pinch me, I'm speaking to him. I had for when Hegeta came on, how we do it on, you do interviews on Zoom and Link. I can't
Yeah,
remember what links I was using at the time. 'Cause it was quite early on, but the agent sent me like her work phone, and her work phone must be like some mega old phone, like a Nokia or something. Because she said it doesn't work with links, which doesn't make much sense. But
mm,
so she ended up having to give me a personal mobile number. That
yeah,
is probably a breach of like security or something. But it's cool to have it saved on my contacts and go look who I've got. Like
yeah,
it's like I don't message it at all because she'll block. It is cool.
yeah. It
See
is
her on
very cool.
TV. See him on TV, and I'm like, yeah, I've got a number there.
Yeah, yeah. Like well, speaking of numbers, like the former Ipswich Town manager before the one who is currently Paul Cook, his name is
Mhm.
you might have heard of him.
Yeah.
Like, well, I've got his personal telephone number. Um, and this is because I wrote a letter to the club, saying I'd love to meet you. Like, explain a little bit about my situation, like of being
Hmm.
compromised and everything. And he gave me a call during a training
Fair
session
play.
of Ipswich Town, in his office.
Fair
And
play.
I literally thought it was the club telephone. And and he literally he said, "You've got my number now. Call me when you're ready." So I did. So I didn't go straight away. We had left it a little while. At the time, COVID was really high. Um, at the time, and then eventually we went in to meet. Like up to date, I've probably met all the Ipswich Town managers except from the current one at the moment. So my plan is, I think the current one's doing massively well. He done well. He was at Man United, coaching Ronaldo. He's worked with all sort of great people. So
Yeah.
my plan is to actually meet him at some point. But I think that's great. Like I got that phone number. I got the chance to speak to Temple Grandin. About maybe 2 weeks ago now. And I what I did is I just writ on Temple Grandin's website. She's really good with
Hmm.
her autism
Yeah,
stuff that she does, and I was given like from Temple Grandin's like agent, I presume it was, um, is a phone number, and I got a message from what Temple Grandin said. So I would love to be on your podcast, Mason. Please phone myself. And of course, she's not in the UK; she's America. And then
yeah,
you get this. What my number I got you don't. It's a bit different to the UK numbers, isn't it? Like American
yeah.
numbers. Um, then yeah, I'll say I've got Temple Grandin's number on my phone, which which wasn't. You wouldn't say that every day, like you have like
No,
you
you wouldn't. Yeah,
which it's good when these people trust you because really they don't know anything about you. Like you could
cool.
do anything with this number, but you're not going to.
Yeah.
But I think it's great getting these. It's good getting anyone on your podcast, really. I think everyone's special
Oh
to
yeah,
go on your show, but it's always a nice feeling, maybe for us, to get these people that
yeah,
we wouldn't expect to have on.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. It's good that they give you the time as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like they could probably be doing some more like important stuff, I guess. But
yeah,
they give you time to us, and
yeah,
it's appreciated.
yeah. They could even say like they require payment or to be on,
Yeah,
and like I don't do that. I just I don't pay for. I don't have a sponsorship for my podcast. I just do it because I like doing it. I think it's the best way. Maybe in the future,
yeah,
who knows what the future holds, but you just don't know what
yeah.
happens.
No, definitely. See, whenever a guest asks for money, that's an instant like, no, done. Not having that.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for a chat. Like I
Oh,
talk for free, so they can talk for free.
yeah. It's it's human speech, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, like if people do say that, I would just say, I'm a student. I don't require money. I don't, if I paid for my podcast, maybe that's another thing.
Mhm.
I possibly could do that. So I would be getting the money in, but I wouldn't do that. No. And unless like if it's like one of those apps, like they have those apps where you pay for a message to be sent to you, that
Oh,
they do that. That's a little bit different. But no, it's better not to do that because you get so much more out of it than
yeah.
talking to the people without a payment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you can do it for free, then that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Although, if someone wants to sponsor me and they've got a big budget behind them, I'm not saying no completely.
No, no, no. Uh, that is better.
Yeah, yeah, I won't mind a sponsorship. I could deal with
No,
that.
yeah, we could do with that. Um, but yeah, there's like so when we got a good podcast live, Dominic, like do you want to speak a little bit about like your autism a little bit?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with autism. Crap. Can I say that?
Yeah, it's
Was
not bad, is it?
yeah, thank God. Yeah, yeah, no, just checking. I was diagnosed. I think I was like 9 or something, and I remember my parents moaning that they were trying to get a diagnosis for absolutely ages, like to the point where it was just like, was it even worth it at that point? And I
Mm,
got the diagnosis, and the usual argument would be that I'm doing well enough in school, so they just assumed I either A didn't have it, which doesn't make sense, or B didn't need anything. So I was in fact I remember moving schools and one teacher just flat out said she don't believe I've got it because I'm getting good grades. So it was it's an interesting one that. But anyway, it mainly affects like my mental health and overthinking, I think. I'm not really too sure how it affects me now. I've not really thought about it for a while because I've not been asked for a while. Um, but obviously then went through the school. Left school last August,
mm,
because my mental health was just dead. The support that the school was offering wasn't the support that I needed, and I had some grades. I had exams behind me, so I was allowed to leave in Scotland. So I did that and worked, and yeah, I've just tried to use autism as one. It's a nice way of getting it in the title. People that are interested in it will click on it. Um, But I just try and show people that even though I've got autism, I can still have a normal conversation. I can still be, well, normal. Like, it's not the best word, but you know what I meant.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
But yeah, that's a little brief summary.
yeah. So you was diagnosed when you was 9.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah,
It was around about
yeah,
that time.
yeah, yeah. I was the same. I was diagnosed around that time as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's quite funny.
Yeah.
Um, but do you think that's like the best time like to get diagnosed with autism like,
Um,
around that age?
I think there's pros and cons. Like the pros are, so of course there's a stigma around it. So people don't, that some people look down on it. So I've had time to show people at my school then that I was relatively normal, that I could chat to people and all that jazz. But equally, what it didn't help me in a way was because I'd already shown that I was doing well in school, they were very reluctant to give support because in their head there were people that needed it more. So I mean, there's pros and cons. I wouldn't change it because, like I said, I've got the grades and now I'm coaching football and I'm actually doing much better. I've got the podcast. I've got a bit of money from. Well, I did have another job. I left it in January. We're recording this in March. For those who aren't aware, I don't know when it'll get. I think you said it will publish next month.
Yeah, it'll be an
Yeah,
April now.
yeah. But anyway, I'm doing much happier now, so I wouldn't change it. But there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, there are always going to be pros and cons. Like, I think whenever you get diagnosed with anything, it may not be
Yeah,
could be autism, it could be something else. Um, like, yeah, I think there will be pros and cons. Like, I like at that age, you may not even know what autism
no,
is. I know I didn't. I thought it was the worst thing under the sun when
yeah,
when
yeah.
I got told. Um, like I just didn't like being different from people.
Same.
Like
No, yeah, same.
yeah, yeah. I probably copied people a lot. I probably wasn't myself. Um, like in school. But
Hmm.
as the years went on, I was more myself. Like
Yeah,
I was a joker in school. I always like to distract myself from what we was actually doing, or if people distract me, that's me gone.
yeah, yeah. But no, I think you're right. You try so hard to fit in, don't you, that it gets exhausting to a point.
Hmm.
Like, but once you yourself, it's much easier, much happier.
Yeah,
Until you get distracted from someone else, and then, like you said, you're gone, you're done. That's the not
yeah, and then
learning anything that day.
yeah, and then teacher says like you get a question saying you get they ask you a question and like in class and you don't know what they're talking
Like,
about.
yeah, not a clue, miss. Not a clue.
No.
One
Uh,
extreme to the other, you can go from smashing out like a whole, like almost like an exam type thing in a half the lesson to the next day, like, yeah, I'm not even doing a question, miss. I just can't. Like,
no. Like
like that.
if we're reading a book, I'm gone. I'm not even reading it. Um like I let's say I always like teachers. Like there's two types of teachers. You either get the teachers that make you read out in class, or you get the teachers
Yeah,
that don't. The teacher just reads it and they understand why that you can't read it because it is hard like to read out in class. And
yeah.
I even struggle even when I'm just reading a normal book. I will I will struggle where we're going. I'll maybe read the same line over and over again.
I think I spent more time in school in English worrying about being the one that had to read out in class than actually reading the book. Like, I
Yeah.
spent more time looking around, like, how likely am I to be next? I was like, oh no, what we're doing. And then I think I was only picked like twice in the whole time I was in school to do it. So I think I didn't really need to do that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And it's hard as well because if you don't know a word, like it's like people would be laughing. You feel like people would be laughing at you
Mhm.
because you can't spell maybe a certain word, and then maybe depending what teacher it is or how understanding they are, they'll either say it for you or they'll try and make you say it.
Yeah.
Like it's it's just annoying. But yeah, reading I do like English as a whole. I probably like that more than maths, but
Yeah.
I just don't like reading.
Yeah. No, don't blame you. I'm the same. It's even worse when it's like Macbeth or something and the words just don't look real.
No.
That's what I didn't like. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not a word. I can't read that.
Yeah, it doesn't make Beth rhyme and everything.
Not happening.
Yeah. But I do like drama. I do like acting. Um, I do like that in my spare time.
Yeah,
Um, like I I did drama at school and um it changed. I was the last year at school I went to because I went to mainstream then I went to like a
mhm,
special SEND school and at the time like of course in year 11 and everything um it was English based. They changed the exam so it was more writing than
yeah,
acting, and that was just annoying. So the whole year got split under maybe six of us got picked. There were so many of us that there were loads, loads of us in the year, maybe about 50, including the classes. And in my mind, I thought I'm gonna get picked. I know, I know I'm gonna get picked because I do the acting. Like I'm doing it. Like I never thought I would. Maybe a few years beforehand because I'd be silly. I'd mess around in drama. I
yeah,
made this really funny joke once. I can't remember what it was, but I said something that I knew it was wrong,
yeah,
pronouncing something, and everyone just laughed. And I think even the drama teacher laughed, and it was. I always like drama because you can just mess around when and not be
yeah.
sort of
Laid back in it. I
yeah
like drama. I just wasn't very good at it, but I liked it.
yeah. I'm always liking watching it and it's all around us really, isn't it? Like
Mm,
and music as well. Like music,
yeah,
like is really impactful. Um, it even helps with like maybe reading and
yeah.
other stuff as well.
I liked music, but I didn't like music in school. Like I played drums. I was in a band. It was a rubbish one, and it was only for like a year or two. But I was in one. But then I got to school. Bear in mind, I played drums, and it was just all keyboards. Like I don't like keyboards. And then they made you play in front of everyone, and so they could judge you and see how you were going to do. And I just hated that. Absolutely hated that. I wanted to like smack the drums or even the guitar would have been better, but no, I had to be the keyboard.
No,
Didn't like that at all.
yeah, I always think the keyboard could be a little bit more complicated.
Just fiddly.
Yeah. So too many, yeah, like it's like the piano, isn't it? Like you just
Mm.
like all these different keys mean something, and I think they have to
Like,
learn what each key
yeah, like, what is
is.
this?
Yeah, you got to learn what they do, and I like listening to it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like listening to it, but I have done an odd piano, but I'll just brush any keys down and see what comes about.
yeah, yeah. I don't like being like not very good at something either. So I was trying to learn it too quick that I was just absolutely awful at the piano, like absolutely awful. Like I'd have to play it slow just to get the right ones because if I rushed it, I was just smacking it and because it wasn't working.
Yeah, but.
Basically, I couldn't do the piano.
Yeah, like with wanting to play the drums though, that would work out for you because, um, like with football, a lot of people drum at the football, don't they? So, so you might have could yeah, like I know at Ipswich they do, but I presume every club
Yeah,
does it.
yeah.
That they just you have the like you
Drumming
do
work.
chants.
And it's
Yeah,
easier. Not as much keys and actual drums is there. I think there's only a few drums, whereas like there's loads of keys, so not as
yeah.
much to remember.
No, you just yeah. You don't really have to remember much, do you? You can just bash
No,
down and go to the beat in your mind, I guess.
yeah,
And you sing like you like 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 supporting leads, you have your own lead chants,
yeah,
and stuff. So it's good. It's really cool though. Like football matches. Like because you coached Dominic. Like how long have you been doing that for?
coaching football for about two years. Just so although it's not a lot, I was coaching pretty much every day for 2 years, so it's a lot of hours when you add them up.
Yeah,
Um, and I coach at all age groups. I said to you at the start, I think it was youngest player I've got. I think is about 4. At least they're on the register. And the oldest one I've got is about 50 something, 52, 53. Again,
Yeah.
it says that on the register. They might have misclicked it, but
Mm.
it's all age groups. But yeah, I'm in Scotland as well, so my local club is Scottish League Two. Because I don't live in Leeds anymore, and just tracking back a bit. Even they've got a drum at Scottish League Two level. Every now and then, one of the fans will bring a drum.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I've been coaching for about 2 years football, at like various levels.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be like is that like a certain club that you got to go in then like to do that or is it like a team like what kind of coaching is it?
I do a bit of everything. So I first started with football with like, I don't know if they do it near you, but for kids, in like the school holidays, they do like these holiday camp stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
they get basically just a bunch of fun sessions. I started off with doing that and like after school clubs. I was doing well enough at that that Elgin City, the local club, because I did it with the council first, so they just needed volunteers. Asked if I'd do it with them. Elgin City asked if I'd do it with them for their community program, which is like it's a feeder into the academy. It's just a bunch of after school sessions, or if any good players are there, they'll get put into the academy. And then after that, I'm still doing it with them, but a local like I'm going to call it like a development academy. Like it is an academy, but it's not like Elgin City.
yeah,
It's like for the less developed players, I guess.
yeah,
Still some good players, but they asked me to coach for them. So, and I've got their adult team as well that we just got knocked out of the semi-finals in a cup, and I'm gutted. Got
oh,
knocked out last week,
oh
but
no,
we got absolutely smashed as well, 6-0 in a semi-final. That's embarrassing, but but
wow,
oh well.
yeah,
We got, but yeah, or everything. I coach for a club. I coach for like after school clubs, and I coach for like more after school clubs as well. So yeah, everything.
yeah. So like at the moment is that near enough like every day then like the week?
Yeah, yeah. So much so that I could leave school to do that plus a little part-time job on the side. That the hours are fine. Like I coach
Yeah,
pretty much every day. Like Mondays and Sundays. Well, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays like my busiest days. And then I don't have a day that's specifically a day off, but I've got like Wednesdays where I've only got a few hours, and Tuesdays and Thursdays where I've only got a few. So I've got every day, but some days are luckily shorter than others. Um,
mm,
but some days are long. But yeah, pretty much every day. Games are usually like Fridays or weekends as well, so that makes days
yeah,
longer.
mm. Yeah. It's really good fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, like I I remember doing coaching. Well, I went to coaching like I remember even like primary school. It comes to mind where um like you had this football coach that would come in like
Mhm.
do PE.
Yeah.
It would kind of be it wouldn't be the overall PE teacher, but it would come in maybe once a week. I think it was a Thursday or something where
Mhm.
everyone looked excited for it
Yeah.
um and it was literally near enough every year like the same coach would come in and a few of his helpers.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, and it was autism friendly as well. So, like uh, doing people like on the spectrum. And
Mhm.
as my plan was to help coach once I was old enough to. Um,
Mhm.
so I did for a little while. Um, like I even went like you said about camps and holidays. They would do camps and holidays.
Yeah.
When I was there, would be at the school, but now it wouldn't be like there. Like last time I went would have been a good few years now. Because of COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I would go there to the camps and I would help as a helper.
Yeah.
And then the plan is maybe within maybe the next few years, get back in touch and like be a coach for them. Which would be great. Like still at the moment is a little bit difficult. But it I love coaching as well. It's great. To like I did a coaching. I said before I did do a coaching course. But I think that's run out now. That's the annoying thing. That's the annoying thing about doing these
Yeah.
courses. Like you do it all, and then you got to run. You got to pay. You've
Expiry
got to
date.
pay again. Yeah, you got to pay the day if you want to continue
Yeah.
your qualification. But I can easily do within this coach. that I'd be doing. I could easily just do a qualification for them, which would be
Yeah,
easier. But I do have a first aid because you by doing coaching you have to
you've got a first
you,
aid.
you have to do your first aid, don't you? And I remember doing mine. It was very it hurt my legs, like like on the dummy and like staying in that position for so long.
Yeah. The first aid one, I was scrambling because I forgot when mine ran out, so I was trying to find it, making sure it was still. I've got another year or so on it. I think I've got 2 years on it, so I was fine. But yeah, I was scrambling for it. But yeah, like you said, you start off as a helper, don't you? Like just picking up cones and setting up drills, and then you eventually get to take the session.
Yeah, but I think it's really important. So if you're at a place like that they are actually in time, they are actually making you do stuff. Not like
Mhm.
at the start you kind of expect to do that, like put the cones out.
Yeah,
But like you want to officially like be the lead, like them let you lead, not just lead along with side, maybe the overall person,
yeah,
just so you get a bit more experience. Um, which it's great. But the coaching is
yeah.
great. Coaching football is great. It's like it's good to have something that you enjoy doing like every day.
It's yeah. Even like, when you get paid for it, I'm thinking I don't know why I'm getting paid because I'm enjoying this. Like it's just a bit of fun. So it's hard to like think about. You're just getting paid for a bit of a laugh if you get paid. Very hard to get paid in coaching. Like you've got to be doing a lot to a high standard all
Mm,
the time. And most people won't get paid in football,
no.
like grassroots level. But once you do, you feel like you feel like you're taking the mick of it, taking money for just basically having a kick about. Like
Yeah,
it's very rewarding.
it's great. It's really fun. Um, I it's something that I really want to get back into at some point. Um, like because I was doing my I nearly did my driver's test. I was getting ready to do it and everything. I didn't do my theory either. Like that was all before pandemic.
Yeah,
And then as soon as I get, I'm and then near enough. I'm nearly enough ready. Everything went down. So
mm,
that like there's so much things that like over the past years have. Don't get me wrong, it's been really good at the same time. Like starting podcasts,
yeah,
doing stuff like that. But at the same time, it'd be nice to get stuff back on track that had to have a little bit of a pause maybe a few years ago.
yeah. COVID has put like I guess put the world to a stop, didn't it? It literally was well everywhere was locked down on it. So
Yeah,
it didn't didn't really help
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. Like we're so well. I guess if you've done it for 2 years, would that not have been in the lockdowns? Would it have been after the lockdowns that you started doing
It's
it?
yeah, when lockdown ended, straight in there. Um, I got it because I started with so I was doing surfing, but I ended up like helping like lead a warm up. This was before lockdown or help people with it. I was never like classed as a coach. It was literally just when I was on a session, I would help someone do stuff. And I really liked that and I wanted to get higher up in it. But I preferred football over surfing. And to be honest, I can't imagine coaching 5 people in the sea. That would just kill my anxiety.
Yeah.
I'd die. Um,
Mm,
but I liked helping people there, and I was doing jiu-jitsu as well, and I'd be like helping the like slightly worse kids. I hate that wording, but it's
mm.
a fact in it. So, and I really enjoyed that. So when COVID ended, and I could actually start doing that with football. I'm not the best at football, but I know what I should be doing.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
it was yeah started football after lockdown, and actually classed myself as a coach after lockdown. I didn't. I guess I technically wasn't before.
Yeah. Yeah, you coach now.
Yeah, yeah. Now I can say the word coach, but all it's mental because I started. It was literally only like 2 or so years ago, and now I'm already starting to help new coaches and teach them how to coach, and that's mental because I'm still new to it. Like I think I'm anyway, but I've
Yeah.
still got like newer coaches that I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be like I guess kind of mentoring in a way.
Mm, yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, it's really good. And I like you mentioned surfing, like last year I went to Cornwall and of course they're known for
Yeah,
surfing there. Like
yeah,
where I live in literally you see no one surfing like people are born to surf in those kind of areas of the country.
yeah.
And I couldn't surf to save my life. Like
Yeah.
I did a little photo on. I saw a surfboard on the floor somewhere, and I just I had a photo, and I was like I'm ready to surf. I didn't really surf, but like I think it's better to watch than actually do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause it's cold when you do it yourself in the sea in the UK. It's bloody freezing.
it is, and like around like the sea. It's really interesting because like going on the beaches of Cornwall and everything, that load of people, like you have all these people out there, like lifeguards, like you see in the films, and like where I live, like none like. Like last year, there was actually an accident because someone was under the pier of a beach and not that far where I live, and no like lifeguards were about.
Yeah,
And I think even though maybe it's not as popular, beaches not other beaches are as popular as Cornwall beaches, but I think there should be that kind of
just
safety.
like, yeah. You'd think, you'd think,
Yeah,
but you never know.
no, but yeah, I always say like abroad beaches or uh Cornwall kind of beaches. I think that I'd rather get in that kind of water than maybe other types of water because UK water overall the sea isn't great. Um, like it's not very clear. You can see all the dirt and everything.
And it's cold,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like
especially in the winter.
it is cold. It's very cold. But me, I just like to go to a theme park or
Yeah,
somewhere. It's much
yeah.
easier. Go go have a nice swim. In a warm pool, hopefully. But who
We
knows?
yeah, I don't think I've only surfed like twice since lockdown, but if I was going to do it again and I had a choice between doing it in the UK or somewhere abroad, I'd choose abroad 9 times out of 10. Like,
Mm,
go somewhere warm. Not
yeah,
worse when you're in a wetsuit. Like where I live in Scotland, it's freezing the snow today. My football's off.
yeah,
So there's nothing worse than when you're coming out of the sea in the wetsuit that's cold, it's sticky, and then you get changed and it's freezing with the wind and everything. It's awful. But it's
yeah,
good fun in the sea. It's just when you get out,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
awful.
So, is it snowing quite bad then? At the moment.
It Last week it was really bad, and yesterday it went like there was loads of rain, so the rain kind of helped get rid of it. And then just overnight, I didn't even see the forecast for snow. But overnight, I've gone, and there's photos in the group chat now. The football pitch where I would be coaching today is just white. Like, it is just a sheet of snow. We did have a good few inches, to be fair, last week. But like I said, I thought it all melted. But overnight, it's just come back again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So you got the day off at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. For now, I've got a course later today at like 9. Well, 6 till 9. But yeah, I've got a bit of today off, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Works out,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
get a bit of a rest. It's fine. I've
Yeah.
still got to study later.
Yeah.
Got a UEFA C course, which is, I guess, then I'd be qualified anywhere in Europe. So that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
But
If I
that
pass,
yeah. I hopefully you do.
so am I. Cheers. Because it's an expensive course, I don't want to pay for it again.
No. No, definitely not. So with football, like in the Premier League, do you think Leeds will stay out then? This season?
I can't decide. We had a really good start to the season, like against Chelsea, for example, beating them 3-0. Then we went to Anfield. I know these guys aren't on great form, but we beat Liverpool at Anfield. And at the start of the season, we were like dark horses to qualify for Europe. Like no one would say definitely not, but some were saying you never know.
Yeah.
Like, but then between like no, between the World Cup and now, we've just been awful. Like it seems like we forgot how to play football. We can't
Yeah.
score. If we had a striker that could score, I'd say we're good enough to like get top half, but we just can't get the goals. So I don't know. Everyone else around us is bad as well, so I'm hoping we can stay up. But
Yeah. I think Leeds' problem and their issue has been since they got promoted, um, is they haven't invested in their squad. That's what they should have done. You get rid of Rafinha, who's a very good player to Barcelona. You probably
yeah,
got quite a bit of money for him. Like you haven't really. You might have got a few players like when you had your former manager
hmm
from who was in the Bundesliga.
yeah,
Bought a lot
Jesse
of
Marsh.
yeah.
hmm
He bought a lot of his own like maybe players that he was used to.
Yeah,
But a
we
lot of
needed
them
some
haven't really
big money.
performed really, haven't they? Um,
Oh yeah, the issue was, so when Bielsa came in the Championship, the players that we had were crap, but he made them really good.
Hmm.
But now they're getting older, and we don't have Bielsa to keep them at that level, so we're realizing how bad they are. Like, obviously, they're better than me because they're getting paid to be in the Premier League, but they're
Yeah.
not good enough. And the new signings have been on and off. Like at the
Hmm.
start of the season, they were great, but now they're not. But we needed to be investing every year that we've been in the Premier League, but we've only just kind of started recently, and even then, it's not like it's no one proven. We're getting like these guys from who've never played in the Premier League, which is it's a good gamble, but that's what it is. It's a gamble. We don't need a gamble. We need like a safe bet. Like we should have got someone maybe a Chris Wood or something that is known to play in the Premier League and can score.
Yeah.
That's what we should have gone for.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
It's always helpful to buy players in the Premier League or
Yeah.
like, but or like in maybe a high in the Championship that could help you stay in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But yeah, this sort of happens every time Norwich go up. You see, they don't buy anyone. They keep the like you see the last time they was up, they buy no one that they wanted. Like, well, they might have bought a few players, but like their best bet was I don't know. I can't remember because like they've had Pookie for half a dozen years.
Forever. Yeah.
um,
He's been there forever. Fair play.
and me being an Ipswich fan, of course, I don't want them to go up in the playoffs. So, if they get to the playoffs, so I'm hopeful that they don't. I'm hopeful that helps a lot of people out because it will save a lot of aggro with Norwich going up. They might stay up a year, but they won't stay up longer than a year. They're not one of those teams. They're a like up and down team.
Yeah. Norwich aren't really a Prem team either. To be fair,
Yeah.
they're just yo-yos.
Like a Watford or
Yeah, like a what? But they've had a lot of managers, haven't they? They've just
yeah,
sacked what's his face, Bilic, and they've got Chris Wilder now. That's mental.
yeah. Chris Rolls is a good manager, but
There's not
um.
you can do with Watford at the moment.
No, like it literally like every so often they have a new manager. It's crazy.
I think they've
Um
had 6 in 2 years.
yeah, it's crazy.
I need a count now. So they had that Zisco guy at the start of last year when they were in the Prem. Then they got Roy Hodgson. Then they got Claudio Ranieri. Then Roy Hodgson. So that's 3. They got that. Did they get what was the Forest Green Rovers guy?
Oh
They got
yeah.
him
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
at the start of last season after Roy Hodgson. They got Bilic, who they just sacked, and they got Chris Wilder. I think they got one more, and I completely forgot who it was. But
I
yeah,
wonder
they've had at least 6.
didn't they have Steve Bruce at one point?
I don't know. I thought he was at West Brom, but Steve Bruce has been
Yeah.
everywhere, so you
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
been everywhere.
Has he got? Is he anywhere at the moment? I'm gonna have a quick
Yeah.
Google just really quickly because
I'm
he's
not
always in a.
yeah, he's always there. Like, I'd like to see Sam Allardyce back. He's been away for a little
Yeah.
bit.
What club though? I thought maybe he could probably have gone to like Everton when they sacked him, but Sean Dyche, to be fair, is a good choice.
Yeah, Sean Dyche was a good choice.
But at
Like
the moment, he was at West Brom and he left them.
yeah, like like Neil Warnock is like
He's
he's like
mental.
he's like he comes out of retirement. I think it's been the second time he's come out of retirement now to
Yeah,
manage.
he's Huddersfield. Fair play to him. It's like ancient as well. He's got a podcast though as well, hasn't he? A relatively new one.
All right,
That's a listen.
yeah,
I'd have Neil Warnock at Leeds just for like end of the season. If I knew we were going to get relegated, just for the laugh, I'd bring him back to Leeds.
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think he's doing that well with Huddersfield at the moment, is
No,
he?
no, but no one is. Huddersfield are a lost cause at the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy because Huddersfield, I think we were in the playoff final last year.
Yeah, they
Go
were
up.
they were mental, but it's
Yeah,
weird. It's the championship in it. The championship's a weird league.
yeah.
Like,
It's really crazy, you know. Like with Milton Keynes Dons, you know, with League One, with Milton Keynes, last it was the same for them. Last season, they were in the playoff final, and they lost, I think, to Sunderland. Um,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
uh,
I think it was Sunderland.
um, and they could have gone up, and then they could be going to League Two. So it's really,
Mental.
it's crazy, but like my club, with my club, Ipswich, like they've been in League One for probably 6 years now, and
Yeah,
I'm hopeful they'll go up because they always get a lot of stick. Ipswich do, like they say they're like with Norwich is like they always do Norwich and that. But I believe because of the owners we got now and like American based, and the actual we have a good manager at last. Like
Yes.
we actually play good football now. I believe because we played Burnley in the FA Cup, and Burnley said they come out, even manager the company come out and said that it's just been harder to play than some high championship clubs. So I don't think we'll go up straight away. We could do a Bournemouth, but
You never know.
that would be nice. But I think if we go up, I hopefully we will leapfrog Plymouth because you never know in the playoffs. I think in the playoffs, I think the top three should just go up because it's really unfair, isn't it? Like if a sixth
Yeah.
place just sneaks into the playoffs and they go up
Oh,
and beat a third place that just missed off 1 point on the top
yeah.
two.
But equally, it's not as entertaining then, is it?
No,
Like,
no.
it's not fair, but it's not as entertaining.
Yeah, I guess I'm biased because Ipswich might miss out on the top two, which it is entertaining. I guess it's more fun way to
But the
when we got
neutral.
Wembley. Yeah,
I think Leeds looked like were we third or fourth when we were in the playoffs and we lost to Derby. It was a blessing in disguise because we weren't ready for the Prem, but we like first and second for most of the year, and then we dropped off like towards the end, and then lost to Derby in the semis,
yeah.
which
I
was
would love Derby to go up as well. I do really like Derby. Um,
they've got a lot of history, don't they?
yeah, like I think they're one of the worst teams in the Premiership, though, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Although they've
yeah,
got, like I said, they've got history like Brian Clough and that, like in the seventies. But
yeah, yeah.
they're a
But
case.
I remember the year they played QPR in the playoff final, and I really wanted them to go up at the time. I think they had Lampard, or it might not have been QPR. They got with Lampard in the playoff final, and
Yeah,
I think if Lampard stayed there, he could have gone up, but they had all the problems, didn't they? Derby with all the everything that
money.
happened.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't think it'll QPR. It were someone in the playoff
yeah,
final.
yeah,
They beat Leeds to get
someone.
there.
Yeah.
But I was happy they didn't go up because, like I said, they beat Leeds, so I didn't want them to go
No,
up.
you don't want who you've beaten to go up. But I would
we had a,
like Derby to go up this season if it's
yeah,
especially in the top two. But if not, of course I don't want Derby to go up.
yeah. Now, I
Yeah.
think the reason that I didn't want them to go up though as well because we had a lot of drama with them that season because we had a spy at the training ground, which was quite funny. And then I don't know if you were like paying attention to that story when it happened, but so Bielsa sent a spy to like scout training, which in of itself isn't a crime. I understand why they were
Oh
mad.
yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not technically it's not like a crime, but it's not like I get what they mean. I get why they didn't like it. But what Bielsa did then was, when accused of it, he scheduled a press conference and just did a massive PowerPoint of everything that he'd learned from all the Premier League clubs from scouting, which I think is hilarious. He basically just told the whole league how to beat Derby, which was pretty funny. And then we went and lost to
Um,
him, so they got the last laugh. But it was funny anyway. In fact, no, we got the last laugh. So they gave us a guard of honor when we won the championship the next season. So it were
yeah.
bit of a story. Mad 2 years.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny when he done that, like he's spying on him, and
Mental.
no, it's
He was a
crazy.
character. He
Yeah,
was a character.
yeah. Like when you got when you did when Leeds like part of ways with Bielsa, did you think that was the right decision?
Um, so we just lost 4-0 to Spurs, I think, when they sacked him. And I think it was a brave decision. I don't know if it was wrong or right because I think he had a lot of credit in the bank. He got us promoted. He'd made like rubbish players, Premier League players. But we were ravaged by injuries. And I think he was meant to be leaving at the end of the season anyway.
Hmm.
So I think I was against it at the time and I'm still a bit mad about it. But I get what they were thinking, like get the new manager in. If we go down, we're going to get a new manager anyway, so get him in now so we can work with the squad for next season.
Yeah,
And Jesse Marsh kept us up. So I mean, I like Jesse Marsh to be fair. He was just very unlucky. We didn't have a striker that could score.
yeah,
So I get why they did it. I wouldn't have done it because I liked Bielsa and he was just a madman. He was entertaining. But I understand like he was going to leave anyway, so might as well just get it sorted now and bring in someone who's going to have to work with him later. And he kept us up, did Jesse Marsh? To be fair on him,
yeah.
kept us up. And
He did. And there was like it was he did do well with Leeds and like Bielsa did do a good job.
yeah,
And he was close to getting the Everton job, wasn't he? As
yeah,
well.
he showed up though and said he didn't want to take the senior team until the end of the season, but he'll take the under 21s instead. but he wanted £1 million a week for all his staff, not just him. He don't take £1 million. No, a year, something like that. I think it was a year, but for
Mm.
the whole of his staff, which is mental.
Yeah.
But I thought that's funny. Like, he shows up to, I think they had a meeting in London because I was looking at it because Bielsa's like a god in Leeds. So I was always on my phone, like, what's he doing now?
Mm.
Like a stalker. Now I think about it. But yeah, he said he took the under 21s or 23s or something like that. But yeah, he was a manager. I don't think, now I think about it, looking back at Leeds, to answer your earlier question, it wasn't either of the managers' fault that have just been sacked. I think it's just the players aren't good enough. Like, for
That
what we.
that is it. That is the fact of it. Like when I went to visit Paul Cook at Ipswich at the time, we were saying like, what's going on with the players? Like, because I think the managers get too much to blame at football
Mhm.
clubs than the players do.
Yeah,
Um, Man United. We can say Man United, for example, these last couple of years.
yeah,
Like a lot of them may have been lazy, like not performing the right, and like they're not just fit enough. They're not fit enough to be at the football club.
yeah,
Um, and it comes to like them actually caring about it. Like if you're not doing well, you're obviously not. You're going to be down and stuff. So yeah, I
yeah.
think
I think
players need to take more responsibility as well.
I think it was. I've got LinkedIn. I think I've got former Sunderland manager Jack Ross on there, and I think it was him that said, in any other multi-million-dollar company business, it's underperforming. It's the only company where only one person gets the blame, the manager. Like in most other companies, all
They
the other
do.
employees will be looked at like, what do we need to do better at?
Mm.
It's yeah, like especially in Leeds, the strikers. If the football players can't complete like passes, that's the basics of football. What can the manager do if the players can't do the basics?
Yeah.
That's
Um,
that was my argument.
Definitely. So within the Premiership, so who are your ideal three to go down? If you could pick about the three teams to
Um,
uh,
Forest, just because they've spent a lot of money, and it'd be pretty funny. 'Cause they've spent a lot of money. I think Southampton have got to go down. I think they need to rebuild for the sake of Southampton. And I like Bournemouth, but I don't think they're a big enough club to be in the Premier League yet. I think they
no.
need to like build a stadium that's a bit bigger for a start
Yeah.
and build a name. But so yeah, although you know what, scrap that. Bournemouth to stay up, Forest, Southampton, and I'd love Everton to go down. So it would be
Yeah.
really funny.
I'd
Um,
like that too.
but obviously I like Sean Dyche, so I'm torn. I don't like Everton, but I like Sean Dyche. I think he's
Yeah.
really funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my ideal three. I think Forest will stay up though, and I think Everton will. But I hope they go down.
Yeah, I did actually think Forest would stay up at the start of the season. I literally thought that they're definitely going down. And Fulham actually, Fulham are
Mm.
definitely going down. But Fulham are falling.
Fulham are mental at the moment.
Yeah. It's a weird one with Fulham. They're either good or they're not.
Yeah,
But the three I'd like to go down is like I would like actually like Bournemouth. I completely agree with you because 11,000 I think they hold.
yeah,
And it's crazy to actually think that at a Premiership club like because Ipswich are like about 30,000 they can
yeah,
hold, and that's a League One club. A lot of
yeah,
League One clubs hold more, or the higher more League One clubs can hold more than Bournemouth who are in the Premiership, which is
yeah.
crazy.
Mental.
Um, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, if you're a Premiership club, you should be investing to make your stadium bigger,
Yeah,
and for people because more people will go to a Premiership game. Um,
yeah.
and I imagine every Bournemouth game you go to, like Bournemouth Liverpool maybe just gone, you get your tickets straight away. Like it's gonna be
Just
harder
not
to
big
get
enough, are they?
tickets. No, they're not big enough. And it's not that they're not a good team. They are.
No, yeah, fair
Um,
play to them.
they are. They've done really well. They've done well. Eddie Howe. I love Eddie Howe. I think he's
Mhm.
a great manager, and I was so happy when he come back to the Premier League with Newcastle because he's a great manager
He's a
and
good coach.
he's really good. But my ideal three to go down would be Bournemouth.
Yeah,
Like Southampton, as you say, they need to
yeah.
rebuild. And it's a bit unfortunate because if they kept all their good players, not selling
They'd
to
be
like sort of
flying.
yeah, they'll be up there like Gareth Bale at one point.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm a bit like so Southampton, Everton, and Bournemouth would be the three I would choose.
yeah,
Because like you say, Everton would be funny.
yeah.
Um, and I would love if it is just going up, I would love to play Everton
Yeah,
in the Championship. Um, it would be great experience, and they're getting a new ground as well.
yeah,
And like the process of it. So that'll be interesting. So who do you want to win the league?
Oh, who do I think to a different? I really want Arsenal to do it. I really want them to do it. Obviously, if Leeds can't win, because this season Leeds aren't going to win. But I'd love for Arsenal to beat Man City. But I think last few weeks, Man City will just overtake them. But I really want it to be Arsenal because I like the squad. I like Mikel Arteta. The squad's good. It's young. It's hungry. But they just kind of I think they'll choke. They struggled against, was it Bournemouth they struggled against?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Come back right at the end, last minute.
Yeah, which, I mean, is a goal. It's an achievement. But if you're going to win the title, you don't struggle against Bournemouth.
Liverpool did,
I think, yeah, Liverpool did. But I think in the end, Man City's quality is just mental, isn't it? When you look at the players they've got, even if you just put De Bruyne and Haaland, you could win the Premier League with them two alone. Even just Haaland, just have Haaland up top and just boot balls up to him and he'll score.
Yeah, he's been struggling quite lately, though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Pardon.
Yeah. But to be fair, with the goals he scored earlier, he's allowed to have a week or two where he's struggling.
Yeah.
And I think his quality will show. But I hope it's Arsenal. I really hope it's Arsenal.
I always want a team to win the league that haven't won it the previous year, unless it's a team I like. So before the 7-0 loss to Liverpool, I was hopeful Man United could just be the underdogs of it because they haven't won it for so long. But I would much rather Arsenal win it than Man City, purely because Man City just are winning it all the time. But
don't get me wrong, they're a good team, but
yeah. But the top four I would like to would be I think top three more or less just decided really. So we've got Arsenal, Man City, and Man United. But the fourth club, I would either like it to be because I don't think Brentford are going to get there now. I think they had a little chance, but they
not anymore.
They blew it when they lost at the weekend. I think but I think Brighton are well in for a chance, even though they drew.
Maybe.
Because they got about, I think, 2 games hands over Liverpool. And Tottenham, I don't think Tottenham will get the 4th place. I just don't think that they're too inconsistent.
It doesn't seem a happy place to be at the moment either, does it?
No. And Harry Kane's got to make a good decision at the end of the season, I think. If he decides to stay, I don't think he's going anywhere for the rest of his career. But I can see he won't go abroad. I can't see him going somewhere like Bayern Munich because he want to stay in the Premier League. He want to break the all-time goal scoring record. And the only place I know there's a lot in the media about saying that, but the only place you could really see him is Man United because they need a striker. I can't see them keeping Weghorst. I can't see them buying him on an actual deal. He's good enough. He's good enough he's done all right. But he just hasn't. There's been situations a goal scoring striker, like if you put Harry Kane in the chances he's had, you'd be getting a lot more goals. So they played Real Betis the other week. They would be winning that maybe about 7-1. With the amount of chances that he has on goal. And it's hard to believe he is a striker at the same time because he plays a lot in midfield as well, doesn't he? So but yeah, Harry Kane, Tottenham is not a good place to be at the moment, but I would love Brighton to get it. I would actually like Brighton to get it over Newcastle, to be fair, because Newcastle are going to be there in years to come anyway because of their ownership. Because Brighton have done so well, and I love the like you think of all these other clubs, top clubs. Brighton have there's no overall top player at Brighton. They're all just really good. So I think they could clinch it, but I don't think they're not consistent enough. And it's the same to Newcastle and Liverpool as well. Actually, you thought they could be back on after the 7-0 win, but obviously not.
You never know with them. It's really unpredictable. I think the reason that I want Brighton to get it is the same as why I want Bournemouth to go down. Because in theory they shouldn't be there, but with Brighton it's they're actually playing good football. With Bournemouth they're just up and down, so it's annoying. But with Brighton they're just playing really well. That it's inspirational, I guess.
Yeah,
so they're always playing good football.
Yeah, but the thing you fear is let's think about maybe Wigan and Burnley. It's funny the other those years when Wigan won the FA Cup, they got Europa League and the Championship. That was hilarious. But with Burnley, that or even West Ham now, like Burnley got that European football, and they went down, and it's
Yeah,
happening. The same thing has happened to West Ham now.
West
They
Ham
got
struggling. Yeah,
they got that European football in the Conference League, which is probably okay for them because probably teams around their level at the
yeah.
moment. But I think you got to fear that, and it's the same for. I know Sheffield United didn't get European football that other year, but they nearly got it,
They
and
overachieved.
yeah, they're overachieving and you go down. So you just fear that if like a Brighton or a I don't say Newcastle would definitely not go down, but if it was a Brighton, you
No.
just fear it's the next season or they could just go flop.
Then
So
again, I'd be happy with that because it's one less place that Leeds don't have to fight for if Brighton go down. Like,
yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
definitely. Well, let's fingers crossed that our teams do well, like switching
Hopefully.
leagues.
Who
Fingers
do you
crossed.
think's winning the Champions League? That's
I
the big one.
You know who I think's going to win it? I think Napoli are really underdogs in the
Yeah.
competition. And when I say it, and people think I like you must be having a laugh, but I've seen like Liverpool in the group. Napoli, sorry, that they did really well in the groups, and they're doing really well. And I think they I think they may not win it, but I think they will get really far in the competition.
I hope
Uh,
so. But you never know.
yeah. What about you? Who do you think?
Um, Napoli are who I want to win it. But then you look at teams like Real Madrid and Manchester City, maybe Bayern Munich, and they're just mental, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
Man City are due a Champions League.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Real Madrid a few months ago now, a month ago, and they were really boring football, but they're just really good. Like they just keep the ball really well. Modric is amazing.
It's crazy.
Um,
Yeah. Still going.
and although they're getting old, they're still really good. So you can
Yeah.
never write off Real Madrid.
No, the teams that turn up in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's like it's their competition at Real Madrid's like it's the Champions League. They're gonna be there and they're gonna
Do you
do well at it.
do you think Chelsea could do anything in there?
No, I don't think Graham Potter's the right man for Chelsea. I think he's a very good manager, but he's better for the overachieving clubs, if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
Pep Guardiola is a top club manager. He will win trophies with top clubs, but he's not going to win anything with Brighton. Whereas he wouldn't do the same job Potter did at Brighton, whereas like opposite for Graham Potter, he'd like what he did at Brighton. He did all right at Swansea, I think. Can't really remember much. But I think that's his
Yeah.
level is mid-table Premier League and get them overachieving. I
Yeah,
don't think the league does.
I would love another London clubs actually win the Champions League because it's just like it's just that meme, isn't it, with Chelsea that
Yeah.
they're the champions of London. I'm not the biggest fan of Chelsea myself, so I don't like my probably favourite London club would be Tottenham, but they don't seem to be winning anything.
No, yeah.
Uh,
Ever.
no, but I always want a team to win the Champions League that haven't won it before. It's like the Premier League, but I always
Yeah.
like like a Premiership English team to win it as well. Um,
Yeah.
to win the league. But yeah, Napoli they are just doing really well, and I think
Yeah.
they could clinch it. I think Bayern Munich could go far as well. Like
They're Munich, aren't they? They're just
yeah,
huge.
like PSG are not doing very well with they have all these top players, but mean top players doesn't mean they're all going to perform together.
No, yeah, they've
Um,
not got a plan. They didn't have a plan. They just bought the expensive players and thought, I'm going to see if it can work. Didn't really plan it too well.
yeah. But yeah, Man City are due a Champions League, but I don't think they're going to win it this year.
No, I think. I mean, you can't write them off, but
No, no.
I think maybe next year, I think they need to just shift a bit of deadwood, and then I think they'll be back to being like what they were last year.
Yeah, like they haven't been as well this season. And they would still win the league if Arsenal weren't performing the way they are. So,
Yeah,
um, credit to Arsenal.
fair
Um,
play.
um, but yeah, I who knows? Like, who do you think is going to win Europa League then? Who you course for winning that?
I don't. I think it's more competitive than the Champions League is at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I think I know like it's probably either be Man United or Arsenal really. Uh,
Yeah,
um,
I want to say Arsenal, but I think they'll choke again. And as much as I don't like Man United, I think they'll. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like you've got Juventus
Eric.
in there actually as well, haven't you? So
Oh, you do,
yeah.
don't you?
Yeah, you got Roma. I think Roma are in it actually.
I
Um,
think they are. Should be.
Yeah, if Seville win it, they might win it.
Yeah, they win it all the time.
No, they win it all the time, don't they? But yeah, fingers crossed Leeds stay up and
Hopefully.
Ipswich go up. But if you do go down,
Hopefully.
if you do go
We'll
down, you
see.
might play Ipswich next season.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we would, wouldn't we, if you went
Yeah,
up? So yeah,
definitely.
you never know. Never know.
You never know. But last thing, Dominic, before we go, because we've had a really good conversation about
Yes, we have.
like autism and lovely conversation about football. Because I suppose we could talk about football all day. But I guess we talk about it longer. There'll be like the Man City game is later today, so it would be the time for that.
Yeah, we missed that.
You won't miss that. Is there like any advice that you want to give maybe about autism or maybe football?
I'll give a bit for both then, just so I've rounded it off well. For autism, if you want to know anything about it, if you don't have it, don't be afraid to ask questions. No one's going to get offended if you don't know something, as long as you ask it in a way that's nice. If you think you've got it, don't hold off. Go find out if you do. It's a long process, but might as well ask. For football, if you want to get involved in it, clubs always need volunteers at any level, like whether it be coaches or even stewards or whatever, like local clubs. Just ask, get involved.
Hmm.
And yeah, just for both of them, I guess, for both of them, just do something if you want to get involved in autism. Do it. If you want to get involved in football, just do it. Nothing to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
yeah.
Something done, do it.
Yeah. If you want to do it, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. There you go. Like that.
definitely.
I think is it knife. Just do it or whatever.
Yeah. Do if you want to do it. Don't do it if you don't want to do it.
No, no one will judge.
Yeah. Brings a lot of people
There we
together,
go.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. For coming.
No, thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's been really fun. Talk about football. It's not every day.
Yeah,
Like we get to talk about football. Well,
yeah,
we're people on the podcast. It's not all football related
yeah,
all the time. So it's always nice to speak about that every once in a while.
yeah. Definitely,
Yeah. But
definitely.
thanks again, Dominic, and to anyone who's seen the episode today. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as us. But I'll see you in the next episode. And thanks again, Dominic. Hopefully it stops snowing.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers, you too.